Hey, Dr. Fred, TMT, Tuesday Morning Transformation. Today is our judgment is our pain. What's that mean? Hey, there's a quote that says, men are not disturbed by things that happen. They're disturbed by their opinions of what happened. Did I say that right? Men are disturbed not by things that happen, but by their opinion of things that happen. That's by a Greek philosopher, Epictetus. And so what happens, we're spirits, we come into this human body, and we go through this life with a sole purpose. So when we come in, we are light, we are consciousness. It may be subconscious, but that's our spirit. So the thing is, we know our light, yet we have to know the contrast, which is darkness, right? That's the pain of our humanity versus the love of our divinity. So on a bright sunny day, well actually we look now, and it's a cloudy day out here. How do we know it's a cloudy day? Because we know what a bright sunny day with no clouds are. How do you know bright sunny day? Because we know the darkness of midnight. So there's contrast in everything. And so to know our light, we go into the dark. And then we get into the darkness, we look back, it's like being in the dark out in the middle of your driveway and looking at your porch light right out there, and you go, I just want to be in the light. And we complain about the darkness, but the problem is we judge the darkness, we judge our pain, we judge the things that happen to us, the opinions of things that happen to us. And then we become self-critical. Well, if you squeeze a lemon, what comes out? Lemon juice, right? So the thing is, if we're critical and we feel critical because we're judging the darkness in ourselves, then what do? We end up criticizing others. But here's the problem. Our limbic brain that processes emotion and really determines all our decisions and behaviors, it doesn't know, I'm criticizing another person right now. That's not my problem. That's them. They have a problem. Your brain doesn't know what's inside of you or what's outside of you. What your limbic brain knows is what you're experiencing. It feels the emotion and it wires into your body. So it doesn't know I'm criticizing someone else. It feels the pain of criticism. So when we have Luke, 6:37, judge not, and you will not be judged. Condemn not, you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you'll be forgiven. Luke 6:37. So what's that mean? Like we think, if I don't judge someone else, then they won't judge me. That's not what it's about. If I don't condemn, I won't be condemned. If I'm forgive, then someone else will forgive me. That's not what it's about. Your brain doesn't know the difference between another person and you. Your limbic brain. And so what happens is all our brain knows is what we experience. So when I judge another person, I'm experiencing judgment. When I condemn another person, I'm experiencing condemnation. So what I'm doing is I'm creating my own pain. I'm stabbing myself. Yet you're here in the darkness. You complain about the dark. You criticize yourself. You criticize other people. And what you're doing is you're just creating your own problems. We keep perpetuating our own pain that actually leads to suppression. So it's not about an interaction with another person. This is about mastering yourself. So here I have an analogy. I know you guys love props. You guys, come on, tell me you love props. So here's a banana. So the banana, the fruit that we love eating so much, great carbs, that's on the inside. The peel, this is our humanity, right? So this is like a spirit in a physical body. This is the peel, okay? Problem is we go into the darkness, we judge, we criticize, we do all these things, yet we have a sole purpose. And this peel can be getting in our way. So what do we do with forgiveness? Man, we peel back the resentment, right? We peel back the guilt. I haven't had breakfast yet. We peel back shame. We peel back all these things to reveal who we really are. And that's really what this is about. Forgiveness is not something you give to another person. We all know we don't give it to another person. Forgiveness is about ourselves. Where forgiveness is releasing the emotion. It's releasing the resentment out of our body. It's releasing the guilt. So people say, well, I forgive, but I don't forget. Really? Is that forgiveness? A person that says, I forgive, but I don't forget, they're still harboring the emotion. They're still harboring the shame and harboring the guilt. Because what happens when you truly forgive, it's an act of love. It's yes, it's loving someone else, But what it really is an act of loving yourself. It's returning and remembering of who we really are, and that's a being of love. So when we exercise and we practice forgiveness, what we're doing is actually loving ourselves. So why is forgiveness actually forgetting? Because you're not going to change the fact of my life. It didn't change that violation, it just changed the meaning. So when you get in a higher spiritual consciousness, if people act out what's inside of them, that person who violated you, created a painful act, they're living in pain. So I can look back and I can release it and I can say, yes, it's a fact in my life, but I don't have to remember it, because when I think about it, I don't have the resentment and the guilt and all those problems. So I don't need to bring it up unless someone asks me about it, and then I can talk about it with a very objective emotion and perspective. Why? Because I don't harbor that energy. Why? Because I've peeled back the humanity and I've come back to who I really am, the divinity. You guys like that right there? So forgiveness is not an act. It's actually a way of life. Okay? Because stuff's going to happen all the time. So here's my book, You Are More Powerful Than You Think. The second chapter, well, it introduces the healed system. First chapter, honor God within yourself. We're a child of God. We're spiritual being first. Then it's exercise loving yourself and others. So check this out. I'm going to take you through a little bit of this process, how I got that. So it says right here, wow, what does it mean to love yourself? So as I was sitting down this chapter, I'm like, I don't know, what am I going to write about? That's the first question that came to my mind. Then it's a simple question that could be confusing, because if I said, do I love myself back then, this was a decade ago, I'd say, heck yeah, I think I'm pretty cool. I don't know what you guys think, but I thought I was pretty cool back then. And then boom, this next question hit me, not because I thought of it, it was divinely downloaded. Check this out. What if someone were to ask you, how does it feel to love yourself as God loves you? Like, that came out, I wrote that down, I went, oh my God, I have no idea how I'm gonna write this chapter. Guess what? It took me 8 months to write one chapter, because I had to live it to write it. And by the time I was done, I knew what it was like to love myself unconditionally. Then, see, I used to be very critical. I used to be very sarcastic, and I thought, I have a sarcastic sense of humor. But what it really is was poking at people and stabbing. Why? Because I didn't feel good about myself. Did I really love myself unconditionally back then? No, I didn't. I saw fault and this inner pain. But once I learned that and I got to release it, 8 months to learn how to love myself. The next chapter is about forgiveness. Only took me 4 months. Because once you love yourself, then you don't feel the shame. You can release the shame. You can release the guilt. You can release the resentment. You can release the violation. And then all of a sudden, I had internal peace. Now, after that, it didn't feel good to criticize people. I don't have a sarcastic sense of humor anymore. I don't poke at people anymore. You know, it doesn't feel good. And so I don't need to criticize, because if I do, it doesn't feel good in me. And then when I see other people criticize or be sarcastic, I feel their pain, because that's really what it is. It's squeezing a lemon. And so when you truly learn to love yourself and you truly learn to forgive and release, you don't want to do that anymore. And you're not critical, right? So forgiveness, again, isn't an act, it's a way of life. So what do? Hey man, some days we just gotta, I was broken. Some days we just gotta hit the reset button. So here's what I do every day. I wake up in the morning, boom, I get in the right state. I try and let go. Here's the problem that stops you from reaching your soul purpose, is you're taking yesterday's emotions into today. And most people are taking years of yesterdays into today. And that can be a barrier for your soul purpose. That's the barrier of your humanity that gets, and yes, I will eat these, don't worry, and yes, they are organic. I will. That gets in the way of your divinity. But we need to associate with our divinity to fulfill our soul purpose. So what do? Okay, maybe you don't need to peel the banana every day, but you do need to hit the reset button. Reset, this is my heart button. Boom. Come back to love and compassion. Change the meaning of what happened yesterday. Maybe even this morning. Hit the reset button. Now guess what? There's days I'm hitting the reset button like this, man. It's 4,200 times. I'm hitting the reset button all day. There's other days, boom, I hit it in the morning and I'm good. There's other days I don't even need to hit it. And then the next day, oh my God, here's the reset button. Everywhere I look, I'm hitting the reset button. Here's the problem. Do you have a reset button? Do you have one of these? You might want to get them, not exactly like this. Pick the one that you want, because that's like, okay, put it right here. And when I need to, when I'm feeling critical, when I'm feeling not good about myself, I can just hit it, because there's only one thing that we can do in life. One thing. And that is master ourselves. That means coming back to our divinity, seeing that as a reference point, so we can process all those things, so we can practice the skill. This is a skill. The skill of forgiveness. Why? So we can return and remember that we really are love. And really, that's it, gang. I mean, that's it. That's today. Now, why did I pick this topic today? Because we're ready to do some really big things. And I have very clairvoyant type people that are saying, hey, there's some things you need to release. Okay, so I'm hitting the reset button, man. I'm peeling this back. I'm hitting the reset button, because when we do, then our whole soul purpose will lay right in front of us. So here's the deal. Life is not about being right. It's about respecting the journey of others and mastering ourselves. So let's love, let's forgive, and let's love again. All right, love you guys. See you next week.